Welcome one, welcome all to episode 174 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, April 22nd, 2023. I am your host, Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logun. And in this episode, we offer our review of the long-awaited Dead Island 2. We'll note that SEGA has acquired Angry Birds developer Rovio for a hefty sum. We're going to be looking ahead to some games we're excited about on the horizon, like Jedi Survivor. As always, we hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. It's been a really chill week. I can't say that. I don't know. Everything that I did like this whole week was just like, okay, I'm chill. No stress. I was like, a couple days at work, it was like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I had a really good interview this week, which I think will be kind of tied into my words of kindness. But so I don't want to spoil that. But how about you? What was your week like?
It was not bad, not great at all. I got to do some cool stuff for our patrons, which was fun. That made me feel pretty good. And I'll share that in a few moments. But it was a calm week. I put out Creator Talk, which was nice. I had put out an interview that I'd already done, so I didn't have to do any editing.
Nice.
And so it was a pretty good week, man. I can't complain.
We got our Patreon talk coming up too, huh?
Yeah, we do. Xbox wrap up. That is, we should record that later this week for sure. What are we gonna talk about? I don't know. That's gonna be fun.
Figure it out.
Well, Logan, who are your words of kindness this week, man? I see it in the notes, and it brings a smile to my face.
Yeah, so it's partly twofold. First off, I wanted to thank Behaving Beardly for doing an interview with me this week for Sea of Thieves. We sat down, and I figured I usually tell people, like block out a couple hours and we'll chat for an hour, and that way it gives a little bit of a buffer in case we need to do any technical issues, things like that, just to be on the safe side. And man, we ended up sucking up not only the 2 hours, but a little bit more of talking, not all on the record, but it was such a good conversation with someone who's like, he's one of the Sea of Thieves partners and stuff. So I had such a good conversation with him. But then my wife hit me up last night, and I missed the phone call while I was just, I can't even remember what I was doing. I was playing something, but I wasn't really paying attention to my phone, and I forgot to turn off the silent after work. And she DM'd me and was like, "Hey, I'm over at Five Below, which is a dollar store kind of thing over here in California." And everything's $5 or below sometimes.
Got it.
And so she hit me up and she's like, "Hey, they got a Super Mario Brothers movie. Do you want to pick it up?" And I completely missed it. And she came home and she's like, "You missed my text." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't in that headspace." So then we decided to go back to the store, which was probably about 20 minutes away. And it was but we made a whole night of it. Like we went, we got the Super Mario Brothers movie poster, which is fantastic looking. I tweeted it out because it's so cool. And I got a really nice Star Wars one, which is like a kind of original trilogy collage of all the characters, a really beautiful thing.
Okay.
And we went over to Michael's and got like a couple frames, and I made a whole night of it, just like getting these movie posters. But man, it was like, I never thought in 2023, I'd be married for coming up on 10 years now. Next week will be my anniversary. Congrats. And I'd be buying a Mario poster with my wife and framing it. Like it's so I had to say that's my words of kindness go out to my wife for being just an awesome human being. And also Behaving Beardly for having such a good conversation. But what about you? Who made your gaming week better?
Well, that story did. I'll tell you that. And it's funny how when you marry the right person, those nights of just silliness feel awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's a cool win to have for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a good time.
Very cool, dude. Very cool. Well, I have two. The first, I want to shout out Silent Cypher, Xbox podcast. He was he was a guest on TKO Asante's show, who I really like a lot. And I when I comment on people's like YouTube in their chat and stuff, it comes up as Xbox Expansion Pass. And immediately he was like, "Hey, Luke," and I had no idea that Cypher knew me. And it just made my day because he was immediately
Nice.
like, Luke, what's up? And it was like, oh, cool. He didn't just see Xbox Expansion Pass. He knew who I was and stuff. And like little stuff like that was pretty cool. I got an email back from a gentleman named Jeff. So if you're listening, Jeff, you are the man. Appreciate you responding to me. That was cool. And then we're doing a giveaway, Logan. I'm sure you know about it and saw it. But
I do.
We are doing a giveaway for a copy of Jedi Survivor to anybody that sends me a picture of their iTunes or Spotify review, and comments, basically updates their review, talks about you and I, Xbox Expansion Pass and such. No requirement on like number of stars, just want an honest review. And a lot of people responding to that, but people like Garrett Bland they did the review, they entered the contest for sure, but like it was a sincere, like heartfelt. They put a message on Twitter with it, just, hey, happy to support, really love you guys, really appreciate you. People like Garrett and so many others that were doing the review, and you could tell it wasn't just to win the copy. They were genuinely trying to be supportive. That stuff means the world. You know what I mean? Like that's just a feel good.
That feels good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, you guys better be careful because I am still in the review pool for that copy. So, if you guys better make sure you get that thing in, because if I take it, I'm taking it.
To be clear, Logan cannot win, but I will get you a copy.
Oh, no. I already pre-ordered a copy.
Oh, look at you.
Because I got I got a deal. Wario64 tweeted out a deal that Newegg was doing Xbox digital copies for like $10 off. So nice. I managed to get like a digital copy for like $60, and I was like, "Take that, EA! I'll show you and your price hikes."
Yeah, there's no way that they're gonna profit from that now. That Star Wars franchise IP that's a sequel to a best-selling game that was a Game of the Year contender. But for any listener that's listening or somebody watching, if you want to enter that contest, you have a finite amount of time, so you got to be quick. I put out a thread on Twitter, but if you also want to respond to the tweet about this show with a screenshot of your review, please do so. If you don't have Twitter, of course, you can email me that screenshot, insipidghost@gmail.com. Trying to get to 100 USA or North American reviews on iTunes. Got an internal goal for Spotify as well. But I've seen the updated ones where it's not just Luke, but it's Luke and Logan, and I really that makes my day.
You also get extra entries if you send him dirty pictures too.
Do not do that.
Yep.
Please.
Two extra entries.
I do not need that in my life. I do not need that in my life because Lord knows what some of y'all will be sending me. You're like, here's a picture of Joseph
art of him and Master Chief in a bed together. Like that'll be like an extra 5 entries.
What was once the words of kindness now makes me want to throw up. So thank you for that. Although Pablo Schreiber, you know what? Let's move on. Okay,
you like it. You like it.
I want to shout out our new Patreon member. Remember, listeners, if you would like to support the show financially, as well as just with the reviews, you can go to patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass. It helps me look better, sound better, helps me get access to a number of different things, which I am grateful for. We were able to hook our patrons up this past week with Crash Team Rumble beta codes, which was amazing. I know Kevin and Sam and a bunch of our patrons were jumping in and playing together. I saw you in their chat with them, hanging out with them, which was awesome. We were also able to hook up the Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, with some codes as well. So if you played on PlayStation with one of our codes, amazing. Let us know if you enjoyed it. But we try to hook our patrons up. I know a couple of them got codes for Scars Above, which was cool. We just appreciate you guys being patrons, and so we try to show you that love. But our new Patreon member this week, Logan, was Hafrican, our buddy Charles Jones. He subscribed at tier 3. So he was subscribing at the top tier. He bumped us up above an internal goal for me on Patreon. Just a awesome. So shout out to Hafrican. Really appreciate you, Charles. I know we game every week, but I really appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it was really nice to see that, especially given the circumstances. It was all like we were making jokes and doing dumb things in chat in our DMs, and he straight up was like, I'll take that challenge.
Yeah, it's true.
So shout out to him, man.
Yeah, big time. And one of our Patreon family, Lord James Suddy, was in a motorcycle accident. He is okay. He is doing well, but he did take some bumps and bruises and got roughed up. So if you see Suddy on Twitter or on Patreon, show him some love because he's recovering and we'll get to go home soon. And he is okay. Don't worry. But yeah, gave us a scare. So
take it easy, man. Take it easy.
Yeah. Logan, it's your week to read our tier 2 and 3 shout outs. If you would do that, I'm going to try and follow along as I lip sync with you. So I'm ready if you are.
All right. Shout outs to our tier 2 and 3 patrons. African, aka Charles Jones, Game Positive, Zach LeCoulter, Jam Pack Sam, Matt Valdez, Neo Prime 33, Rick Davis, Red Beast, Xbox Mike 29, Matt Without Fear, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, Sony's VP of Marketing Kevin Butler, Clint Combs, DJ Hero, Dano12. Thank you all so much for your support.
I think I had like a 96% lip sync accuracy on that one. So I'm feeling it. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah. So there we go. Thank you guys for supporting us on Patreon and iTunes, Spotify, etc. Logan, for the past week or so, maybe last 2 weeks, I think, I've been playing Dead Island 2 on and off for review coverage. Dead Island 2 reviews are out. The game is out now as well. We weren't able to talk about it on last week's show where we reviewed Minecraft Legends, but we had a great conversation there if you missed that, guys. But with Dead Island 2 reviews, this is a long-awaited title, the sequel to the original Dead Island, which had a spin-off in Dead Island Riptide, and actually a few other smaller Dead Island titles. This game's been long awaited, and it arrives to good, not great reviews, which I fully agree with the good, not great element of it. IGN scored this a 7 out of 10. PC Gamer, who has been scoring a lot of games way lower than I would go with in the last few weeks, just a lot of bigger titles that I wouldn't have expected to be middling. They scored Dead Island at a 55 out of 100. I can't say I agree with that in my experience. Easy Allies was at an 8 out of 10. Games Radar 3.5 out of 5. Metro Game Central 7 out of 10. Game Informer 7.8 out of 10. GameSpot 7 out of 10. It's sitting on an open critic of around 75 at this point. I think 75 is a great overall score based on my impressions of it, but I'll be happy to answer questions about the game for sure. But, when you see these, does this make you want to play Dead Island? Where are you at on this one?
So that's the funny thing is I actually hadn't looked up the reviews on OpenCritic until last night when I was putting together some stuff for the show notes, because I'd mostly been actually watching people play it. And there was a few people that I like to just kind of scope in on. They try to keep up on the latest games and stuff, and they're a fun group of streamers. So they're the ones that I generally look to when I think like, okay, if I'm going to play this, I'm going to play it in more of this kind of atmosphere. So I'm going to have fun with it, as opposed to I'm going to watch a video that Digital Foundry put out and see like, okay, how did they technically do? Like, is it a fun game based on the specs and stuff? And I still watched that, which was interesting because it seems like this game is genuinely like it's a last gen system game, but it is like a polished last gen game, which I was surprised by because it just seems like all the specs are locked. They didn't try and mess around with any like toggles, like, oh, you got like fidelity versus performance kind of thing. They're like, nope, this is what it is. But they nailed it. Like the resolution is solid. The frame rates are good. Like if you got the next gen stuff, you've got the higher resolution and stuff. But when I was watching streamers, I was genuinely just like, oh, this looks like it's fun. It looks like they've got like a mod system built up around like the weapons, and it looks like it was really just people were having a good time. And one of the resounding things that I heard from folks who were playing it was the combat can get repetitious, but the environments change so frequently that it's always kind of fun to run around and check out the different zones because it's all kind of broken up. So when I saw that the review scores were like an overall kind of 75 for the open critic, I was like, yeah, I could see that. It doesn't seem like it's really trying to do anything that isn't Dead Island 1, which I started playing this week, because I'd never actually gotten a chance to play through Dead Island. Playing
Is
through
it
it, I was
still
like,
on Game Pass?
no, it's not on Game Pass, but it was like $5 for the deluxe definitive edition. So I got like Riptide and all that stuff.
Right.
Super, super cheap with Game Pass discount. So I popped on that and then was just kind of dipping into it. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, this is like, if it looks like they pretty much just went and did a new version with everything that is relatively the same as the original, and it just looks and plays better. And I'm like, if you're a fan of Dead Island and you'd been wanting a new one for a while, like I could see this just like really scratching that itch.
I think that's exactly what it does. So I've put in about 15 to 20 hours or so, and I'm not quite done with the campaign. I've been doing some side quests. I slowed down the ending of my of the game. Uh, or I should rephrase that. It starts to drag in the latter third, at least it did for me. And
Yeah.
so I felt like I needed to change up the formula that I was operating with. And so I've started to go off and do some side quests, some of the side missions, and explore a little bit more than I was, because that repetition is there. Without a doubt, Dead Island 2, again, 15 hours in. I held my review for this episode. It's really bright. It's colorful. The environments are quite pretty. Despite it, having some last gen aspects to it. This is very much a true sequel to Dead Island 1, Dead Island proper. I know Riptide exists. I have played Riptide. I played the first one extensively. And I know Dying Light exists, but whereas Dying Light veered off and kind of did a more muted color palette, and explored with verticality, this is a true sequel to the Xbox 360 title Dead Island, and it's decidedly good in every single way. And I'm looking at my notes right here. In every way, this game is good, not great. There is no realm that I feel that it excels into the greatness category, but it's all very good. It's a turn your brain off, go play whack-a-mole in different environments. This is a game where I've been listening to TV shows and podcasts because the writing is pretty forgettable. I've not really enjoyed the humor. I think IGN and a few other places, like our buddy Travis at IGN, like he was praising some of the writing as funny. It didn't come off as funny to me. It also didn't come off as cringy either, which we've had some pretty cringy games and games dialogue in the last few months. I'm thinking about Forspoken right now.
That's the only example I can think of, because I think like Hi-Fi Rush, you could consider some of that maybe cringy, but I actually thought it very endearing in some of the little quips and stuff. But I know where you're getting at. But I was listening to a little bit of that, and I could see where people were saying like some of the dialogue from the NPCs that you talk to, like there's a guy in a place that's lifting weights, and the whole joke is that all of his friends died when the whole zombie apocalypse happened because they never worked on leg day. And
Right.
they skipped leg day every time. And like, but I don't know, like hearing it for like the fifth or sixth time when you go back to that little hub after doing a couple stints out in the world, I could see that kind of being a little like, okay, you didn't program anything else.
I liken it to if you played Grand Theft Auto 5, right?
Yep.
If you play Grand Theft Auto, well, if you do play Grand Theft Auto 5, for any listener has, there's
sure
a lot of
other people.
There's a lot of parody and a lot of like, hey, we're like, one of the characters is clearly a mockery of Lindsay Lohan, right?
Oh, really?
And totally. Like in its time when it was made.
Like the
crazy Lohan.
Oh, man.
Crazy Lohan.
Okay. I gotta play it.
So when you are playing it, like there are a lot of influencers in Dead Island, Dead Island 2, I should say. And so like you're going and doing tasks for them, and the task is fun. Go creatively kill zombies. You got to decapitate them or electrocute them or knock them off a pier for clicks and views. But the characters themselves to me was rather cringy. Like I don't get off on that whole influencer dialogue funny parody thing. And I feel like there was another game that did this recently. I'm just blanking on it. But regardless, it didn't click for me, the dialogue, but I still had fun with the gameplay. Again, good, not great. I really liked aspects of the world. It is not an open world, and it's deceptive because you will think that it is, but it's very much a wide linear with zones, right? So you'll fast travel to different zones, or you can slowly traverse to different zones if you want to. But they're wide open levels, but it's not an open world. It's deceptive like that. My
I had a
biggest
question about
issue.
that.
Okay.
So
If you don't let me get out 6 sentences in a row about this review, I'm gonna fight you. All right, tell me your question. What's up?
Okay, so about that, how do you feel about that? Because I mean, I know how you feel like it's deceptive, but when I'm in an open world game and I fast travel, I still have to do a load screen. So when I go from like one area to another area and it's a pretty, I don't want to walk there, there's still technically a load screen that I have to go through. So when I was watching this and they're like, all right, we got to move to the next zone and you had to do a load screen, I was like, I don't see that. I don't really see that as like a huge gap from what I normally play in other games that have load screens when it is big and open.
Okay. It didn't bother me in the slightest.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me at all when that happens. I actually kind of prefer it because it's a more controlled experience, less variables, tends to often or can often mean less concerns or issues. And I don't enjoy when games, I think God of War Ragnarok and Jedi Fallen Order are quite guilty of this. Too many times am I walking through the crevice and the camera just zooms in and I'm just going through the cracks.
Yeah.
And like that's clearly a load screen. And sometimes it's done well. First God of War 2018, I should say. That one it felt natural, whereas in Ragnarok, a lot of it was happening. So when that's going on, it's like, why are we open worlding? With Dead Island 2, I don't mind it at all. It doesn't bother me. It's a little unintuitive at first to figure out where and how you can fast travel, but once you get it, it's cakewalk.
Okay.
The kicker is it feels at times like I'm still playing that Xbox 360 game, just up-res. It's almost a remaster in some ways. At least it feels like one.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing definitively special about Dead Island 2. And in fact, that open world feels a bit restrictive at times. For example, I will see windows boarded up, and I'll think I can go hit the wood to open up and go through that window. And I cannot. It's not. It's very curated in what you can and can't do. Perhaps akin to like Resident Evil in some ways. What?
Were there any fruit baskets that you went and smashed?
The fruit physics are awful in this game.
Oh no, it's a dead game.
I had a feeling you were gonna. It's a dead game. Clever. Logan's in a mood this week, y'all. But I knew you were gonna ask me that because we joked about that a couple days ago.
We did.
And there are times where, joking aside, it feels like I should be able to smash the fruit or break something, break a window, break a door, and you just can't. Yeah, you just can't. And so in those moments, it feels a touch frustrating. I also, having just played Dying Light 2 less than a year ago, or maybe a year ago at this point.
Like a year ago, yeah.
But it feels a lot like the same game because it's that melee combat. But Dying Light 2 does a lot of things to define itself into a different category, specifically with traversal, with moving around the levels. There's a lot of verticality in Dying Light 2, whereas Dead Island 2 does very little to distinguish itself, or at least it doesn't feel special in a lot of ways. I think what it was trying to do is use its gore system to set itself apart from other like melee zombie killer games, or even shooter zombie killers, because there are guns in this game. And the engine does a great job at rendering these zombies to have like certain weaknesses and strengths, and kind of similar to the RE engine, and like you can see wetness very well. There are zombies that like are covered in water. Well, then you should electrocute them. There are some that are wearing fireman outfits. You should not try to use fire on them. You should try to use acid. Those that are in the hazmat suits, you shouldn't use acid on. You should try bleed effects. And there are ways to do more or less damage on different character designs. And then you can customize your own character with like special perk cards, which is really, really neat. And what their attempt to do, I believe, to make this stand out is a lot of the levels are tuned with these things. You have water jugs that you could throw, gasoline things that you could throw, a lot of destructibility elements that don't destruct the world, but they can cause damage to the zombies. Like if you put a battery in this, these power lines are going to light up and you can electrify them. So I think that's what it's trying to do. And then there are special zombie types kind of within those realms that can have different variants of electricity, acid, and whatnot. But they fall into the bloater, the tank, the spitter, the screamer, very Left 4 Dead-esque. And it feels like I've played a lot of this game before, either in Dying Light, in Dead Island, or kind of other elements Back 4 Blood, Left 4 Dead. Nothing really sets it apart. There are some cool level designs, like you go to movie sets, and when you're in the movie Hollywood sets, like maybe you're in a Starship Troopers callback or an Indiana Jones callback, or there was one more that like a Saving Private Ryan room. Where I was like,
oh really? Oh, I missed that one. I saw like the Legends of the Hidden Temple one, and I saw the giant insect one. Those were the two that I got to see.
Indiana Jones, Starship Troopers, that's what I got out of them. But yeah, exactly that. And those are fun, and you can do a lot of cool things with them. But you can see just about everything that Dead Island 2 has to offer. You can see that in 10 hours, where I'm at hour 15 plus, close to 20, and it's starting to wear a little thin. So I feel like it's dragging a little bit, but I'm still enjoying my time. Like I said, good, not great. I recommend it if you're a Dead Island fan. I say wait for sale if you're on the fence, because there's a lot of other big stuff.
So I have a bunch of questions about this.
Sure.
First off, I want to address the thing that you just said so folks know that it's relevant. You talked about it kind of dragging on in this time frame. This game feels like it is very much a co-op want to play with other people game. And I think I want to say that this would definitely be kind of a less engaging game solo, unless you're there specifically just for that Dead Island feel. Because everyone that I've seen that has been playing this has been playing it with other people. Right. And there's clearly like a disconnect to the story, because it seems like so sectioned off, like you're meeting people and then things happen to them and you move on to the next group of people. But it seems like to me that this is best served as a co-op game online and spending time with other people, which was kind of a shame to find out that right now, at least on the base last gen consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One S, they aren't actually able to host games for people. They actually have to get into games where it's someone who at least has a 1X, a PS4 Pro, or a current gen system. So kind of a bummer about that. So just as a heads up, if you were planning to jump into this with others on original last gen, you're not going to be able to host the game.
I can totally see the co-op elements, and at the risk of sounding morbid, like Suddy was going to be who I was going to try this one out with. Right. So I've not played co-op. I didn't have the time to take advantage with the developer like set times and such for review. So I've not played co-op yet. To me, this is a turn your brain off and go type of experience, because to me, a lot of the story was very forgettable. I didn't turn my brain off and go for review purposes until kind of the latter 4 hours or so I've been playing. But I just that's where I'm at.
It seems like this is kind of the game that if you enjoy like Sea of Thieves, it's a perfect game to like run around and smack things with. Like all you're doing is killing zombies and chatting while moving through and getting weapons and stuff like that. Like it seems like that gameplay loop is right up there with folks that like just kind of chill in Sea of Thieves, go do things, but mostly are just hanging out with friends.
I can see that. I can see the comparison. I don't know that I would have gone there, but I see that.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was you'd brought up like the different elements. Like there's light, there's electricity, there's fire, there's bleed effects and stuff like that. I think about like other games that do that, and I feel like Dead Island 2 seems to do it better with the environmental aspect of it. Like playing
but
through
not
like
as good on the weapon.
Yeah. Well, so like that's the thing is like Far Cry 6 has the same style of weapons. Like you have like different, but it's all ammo based, and they're like they force you to like have certain ammo for certain different types of enemies, and it just doesn't feel like it's natural. It's like, why am I going to have burning bullets? Why am I going to have electrifying bullets? Why am I going to have armor piercing bullets for each different gun that I have? And it's like they're trying to build in this system for a game, and that game was designed in my mind for next gen. Like it was a game that was kind of like pushing for this current generation, not last, but it had the design influences of a last gen
Right.
game as well. And same thing with like a Horizon game. Flame arrows, shock arrows, it's all, what kind of status effects can we put on weapons to deal with different mobs in a certain way. So I'm wondering, do you think that Dead Island 2, if Dane Busters decides to make a Dead Island 3, do you think that they will stretch themselves to go beyond just what they've done as far as like staying true to the genre and putting out an updated version of Dead Island 1 with a proper sequel?
It would need an evolution of some sort because this is all about status effects as well. So you do you
Yeah.
can get fire guns, you can get electricity bullets and stuff. Like you can put those augments on there, but the melee weapons, which feel very good, the guns feel pretty muted.
Yeah.
They're useful, but they
Mhm.
don't feel good or they don't feel bad either. They just are there.
Seemed like it took a while for you to get them too.
It depends on how much exploration you do,
Oh,
but
okay.
they're not nearly as plentiful within the world as the melee options. And you can get
Yeah.
swords, maces, you can get Wolverine claws, you can get
I know, those look cool.
hammers and crowbar. Like there's a number of different weapons you can do, and it's all about applying status, but it doesn't have the creativity that you think it should. Maybe something similar to Dead Rising. So like you can't take a razor blade and a sword and make a razor blade sword. That doesn't happen. Whereas in Dead Rising, perhaps that zombie element, like that was their draw.
Yeah.
So again, I talk about good, not great. If they were to expand or improve upon, the crafting system would need some more creativity in there because it's all about status effects and
Yeah.
mods, but the mods aren't as wide ranging as I would have expected.
Mhm.
But Dead Rising's focus is that Dead Islands is not, but it feels like it should be based on the combat. So again, good, not great. I do think they need to evolve that a bit though.
Do you think that they didn't expand that more because they were focused more on getting the flesh system down?
That I don't know. So I don't want to speak for them, but I could certainly see that logic in there. And the flesh system is good. It is gory.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of reviews putting a ton of praise on that, but having come off of Dead Space and Resident Evil, it didn't feel like that was all that great. But a lot of reviews were calling out that as a great element. Maybe to me, it feels like that's just a norm and expectation now because of because of Callisto, Dead Space, and Resident Evil. Sorry, I couldn't mix them all up.
It's a busy horror genre this year. Like a lot of horror games.
It is, and I think the others did Dismemberment better. But I could entertain arguments otherwise. But it doesn't feel like it's a detriment though. That's the thing. So if I'm saying that others are doing it better, in Resident Evil, shooting a kneecap or in Dead Space, shooting a kneecap was a tactic, whereas in Dead Island, running up and hitting a kneecap works, but you're already in the zone for like getting hit there, so it feels different. There's an emphasis on dodging and blocking there that is not emphasized in those others.
Interesting, because I'd seen some gameplay elements that were pushing you to do maiming through like laceration or through like I can't think of the word, like disembodiment. No, what's the word where you
dismemberment?
Dismemberment. So like it was pushing you to do that for certain things. Like I can't think of what it was called, but it was like atrophage or something like that.
Yes, that is like their special word for your infection level.
Yeah, yeah. So the one other question that I had, because I was thinking about this while I was watching gameplay, how bullet spongy, quote unquote, does the zombies feel? Because I was watching people like hack away at it at different levels throughout the game, and it definitely felt like a lot of it was dependent on the RNG that you got with the weapons that you'd find. So how was that for you? Did it feel like you were smacking the same zombie too long?
Yes. It sure did, especially the special zombies, the tanks in particular, which I know the first instinct would be like, well, it's a tank. It's supposed to be. It's too much. You don't feel like you do damage. There's no stopping power with a number of the weapons. And that's kind of the thing. If there's not a stopping power, there's not like a guttural sound to hitting a zombie. It feels like I'm just sponging it. And unless it's a standard normal zombie, the special ones you're just whacking on them. And that's not that to me, that was unintuitive. If I've got a giant mace that does acid damage and I'm going in with a full powered hit and I hit the tank and it doesn't feel like I did a thing, that's not satisfying. Hitting a normal zombie, you get this big old like flesh sounding thwap, and it stops the zombie in its tracks, and or at least it's moved or knocked back. Doesn't happen with the tanks, especially the big bloated ones and screamers. It sometimes works. So not as satisfying as I think it needs to be. But again, it's good. It's just not good enough for me to be like, it's great.
Gotcha. It sounds like it's kind of like in the same, like if I had to compare it to a game that I thought about that, I'd say Maneater was very akin to that, like very kind of mindless gameplay, but it was fun. It just, it definitely felt like you're just chomping on people in boats and stuff far too long. And after a while, it didn't feel like you really were as powerful, or it didn't feel like you were pushing through as much as you probably should.
I could see that. However, I 1K'd Maneater and I loved it.
And that's the thing too, is like, this is a game that I know I would probably have fun with, but I would probably have more fun with it if I was running through it with other people. So I would probably hold off and play through it when I knew that I was going to be able to like sit down and dedicate like certain nights of the week to jump in with folks with it. Sure.
And when it's on sale, you should get it and you should play it. This is a fun game, but I'm very glad it came out the week before Jedi and not the week of or the week after, because we've got Jedi, we've got Redfall, and I feel like there's a bunch of other big ones that are still set to follow up with Diablo and Monster Hunter Sunbreak and a few other things. I think that's right. So if this could have come out even 2 weeks ago, I think you'd have a different, like just after Resident Evil, I think we'd be okay. But I feel like this game's going to go on sale quickly, and that's when you should get it because it's great. This is a good summer game, especially with the California vibes.
Yeah. And that's what one thing I did want to say too is having lived in I still live in California, having lived in SoCal, watching like some of the rooms and houses and stuff that they had, watching like some of the beach scenes and whatnot. I was like, yeah, they did their homework, because I know where that place is. I've seen homes that look exactly like that. Like I've been in rich people's houses. Like I know what it looks like, and they did a really good job. They've been to a couple rich people houses.
All right. So bottom line, guys, check out Dead Island 2. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it, and it's a good game, and it's one that you guys should play for sure. Won't set your box on fire, but it'll be a good time. Logan, did you see this news about SEGA acquiring Rovio, the Angry Birds developer?
I did. It's so random.
Like, I can't not bring it up. But like, okay.
Bro, did you know that they were gonna make a they were looking to acquire Angry Birds and the pigs for the next Sonic game? Because I didn't. I was really surprised by this.
I was surprised by it also. It felt funny to me that like this was a thing at all. SEGA acquires Rovio, of course, the makers of Angry Birds, $776 million. Okay, neat. Like,
why do you think they're doing it?
I think they're fleshing out their catalog. I think they're trying to pull the talent in from their mobile space, because the Angry Bird devs at Rovio are, they have some solid mobile elements. Of course, Angry Birds was built on that. However, they're also kind of sleazy in some ways. They had to delist the original Angry Birds because they wanted to push people towards their new monetized microtransaction heavy one, and that didn't do too well. I'm sure that backfired a bit, but I think they're doing it because Angry Birds has a successful film to go with it. So the brand is fine. Like, it's a good brand. It's not a great brand. And they're bringing in talent from the mobile studios. So I think that's the real thing. I bet you're going to see Sonic the Hedgehog showing up in mobile spaces way more than he already is, because there are 2 solid Sonic outings on there, but they are predatory mobile elements. I think they're bringing in that talent. It's less about Angry Birds. I think that's just kind of what we are letting people know Rovio is.
I'm trying to find out who did the Angry Birds movies.
I don't know, but they were really good. The Angry Birds movie was good, pre-Sonic, and then of course pre-Super Mario. But yeah, it was a good movie. It wasn't like a great movie, but it was good.
The reason I bring that up is because I know like they're making a Sonic 3, and those movies have done pretty darn well, all things considered.
Oh yeah, they're good. And the show is coming up too, which is set between the second and third movie, starring Knuckles. Good cast.
So I'm genuinely curious. Like, it seems kind of out of place. It doesn't seem like it really fits in with like what Sega does. It seems like Sega's got strong enough IP that it seems like this is a talent acquisition as opposed to an IP acquisition.
Yes, I think that's exactly what it is. But Sonic is kind of the main Sega character. Sonic Frontiers was great. Sonic Origins Plus is coming out this year. They had a really good show in Sonic Prime. And of course the Sonic movies, and then the Knuckles spinoff. Like, that's all great. But Sega also does mobile, and those are a bit predatory. Of course, Sega Sammy.
Has it been? Because I wanted to, because I haven't seen everything that I've seen from the mobile space for Sega has always just been like their games. Like, it's been like Sonic 3 or Sonic CD, and it was always just like a one-time purchase. So I haven't really seen but what kind of like are they getting like season pass type stuff in their games? Like, what games are you playing?
Endless Runners, where everything's on timers. Fun Endless Runners. Like, I enjoyed it. But they're pretty predatory, and like for a good example was like I lost some progress in there, and I'd probably spent $30-$40 over the course of the time I was playing.
Oh my God.
They're like, sorry, we can't get it back to you.
How are you spending that much money on mobile games?
Over time, like not in the day, but like over 2 years or a year or something. But I like mobile gaming. But definitely there's some predatory elements there. But that said, that's mobile gaming. That's the risk you go. But this is, to me, a talent buy. So it goes.
Maybe we could make this into an Xbox wrap up, but I'm very curious about the idea of mobile predatory behaviors for time-based mechanics that are tied to microtransactions compared to video games with multiple avenues of microtransactions for paid games.
And that is a thesis to a doctoral statement, and I'm really happy for any listener that followed along with what you said. I know what you mean, but that was several steps of Kevin Bacon right there. But yeah, no, I understand that'd be a good topic, but you'd have to do a good amount of research.
Yeah, I'm lazy
to really have it. Yeah.
Overall, though, I mean, if Sega wants to buy people, Sega's more than happy. Keep those people on. Don't go like liquidating entire companies if you're going to buy them. So hopefully they're doing something good with that. It seems like a lot of cash for some ticked off aviary creatures, but maybe it's
I don't think it was about Angry Birds, but we'll see. I do like that Sega strengthened its portfolio with this.
Yeah. I'd rather they do it than get scooped up by another company. Makes more sense to me.
Yeah, that'll be something to watch. And I don't know if you saw in our kind of a smaller topic this week that Sony picked up. What was it? Firewalk Studio.
Yeah.
And like they acquired them. Certainly not like the level of like an Activision Blizzard, but it's the second kind of first person shooter studio they've picked up after Bungie, and they're qualified in that kind of AAA development realm. I thought it was a good pickup because they'd already had like a publishing deal. That was kind of a second party studio for them anyway. But as Sony, they acquired somebody, Sega acquiring people are just strengthening their portfolios with both IP and manpower. And that makes sense when you've got companies like Microsoft out there spending billions of dollars to bring in talent levels and studio levels on like ABK and Bethesda. I mean, those are some big pickups. So I don't mind it. I will encourage everybody to not doom and gloom, deals like that, but also to spend your money where you feel it's appropriate.
I'm curious to see where that goes, because it feels like Sony is sandbagging in the sense that they feel like there's something that's going to happen with the ABK deal eventually, and they're starting to trying to make those moves for it's like, hey, we need to start working on this problem now. before the storm actually comes, because in 5 years, what have you, we got to have something. And it's interesting, given that X Defiant beta was going on this week, and X Defiant has a lot of high praise from gamers that I've seen across like the anecdotal evidence that I found. Everyone seems really excited about this because Ubisofts or Ubisoft, depending on who you talk to, it's their free to play COD multiplayer, which historically COD has never done their multiplayer free. They've always done the battle royale free, but the campaign and multiplayer has always been tied to the $70 that you have to pay to get in. So seeing like things like Ubisoft get into like COD and have it look and feel like COD but be free to play really does, like, I would be very interested to see, like, how does Sony feel about that? Could they try and do some deals with them for exclusive content? Because as a free to play game, you can't make that a console exclusive. It's going to be multi-plat. And with Firewalk, I'm curious to see, like, is Sony going to try and pull like a COD, like their own COD as a result with that? And how is that going to look when people have something like X Defiant? Because it feels like COD and Overwatch together, and it looks amazing.
I think absolutely Sony is going to try to find something that competes with it. I hope it's not like I hope they're not trying to make a new Resistance or a new Killzone. I think they do need to make something new. But yeah, sandbagging in the idea of like in the future, this could be an issue, concern. We need to prep for it. Yes, I think that's going to happen. And I think it's wise for that to happen. But I also see the future being 12 to 14 years from now. Xbox doesn't have a physical box anymore. They're just, you log in. And so
That's such a weird concept, though.
it is, but I think it's just the way of the future. And like, you'll just log into your account, and I think you'll do that on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's going to be for 10 years, 12 years, 14 years time.
Infrastructure really has to step up.
Sure.
For internet, for people to really do that. I think I saw a deal today for like Wario 64 saying that like GeForce Now is like $30 for 6 months. So I'm going to take a look at that and see, because I don't know. I love xCloud streaming and stuff, but I'm very curious to see what other companies are doing and how it compares to xCloud. So I'm going to be testing that out, I think, this week.
xCloud rocks, but it rocks to me for like tactics games, for point and click event. There's a lot that you could, like Minecraft Dungeons would be great for it. Suddy was talking to me about what he's trying to play while he's in the hospital on his mobile with Game Pass. And then I think we had a question from I believe it was the Winter Gamer, what game should you play when you're sick, kind of thing. And so xCloud is great for that kind of stuff. And to me, tactics based games like would be a great fit for xCloud and playing stuff there, like Sea of Stars when that comes out, kind of your older JRPG turn-based type games. Minecraft Dungeons is a great example for a game. One you should play when you're sick, Winter Gamer. I hope you feel better. But also like low stakes PvE, multiple lives type things. Like that's what you should be playing right now. And for infrastructure later, I mean that's only a matter of time. Like when you look at the 10-year progress. Yeah,
we've got 5G, so that should help out a lot for now.
100%, absolutely. And even in the short amount of time xCloud has been available, I've seen massive improvements.
It's getting a lot better, and the access to touch controls for games is definitely going up. So you don't have to carry around a
Bluetooth controller,
a Bluetooth controller,
or a Backbone or something like that. Yeah,
those are what I was thinking. Yep.
Yeah, which I love the Backbone, by the way. If I traveled or if I was away from the house more often, Backbone is great. I have a Razer Kishi 1 that I bought, and it was good, but in hindsight, the Backbone is far superior. I've never used a Kishi 2, but it exists, and I will be playing with it. But I spent all my money on setting up the computer. I'm not buying a mobile thing for fun right now when I don't travel as much. Backbone's great, and I'm not going. I don't think I need more than the Backbone.
Yeah, I still have a spare controller in one of those little controller clips that I've used for mine, and works great.
Yeah, there you go. Moving on, bud. There were kind of 2 demo beta things, and I added a third onto there that I wanted to note. Diablo 4 is giving us a surprise server test, which is going to take place from May 12th through 14th. Multiple awards that you can get in this one, including beating the world boss, gives you some stuff in the game proper. If you missed out on Diablo 4, that was a great beta that they had, and I think everybody should go and give it a look here for this server test. Expect frustrations and concerns, but that's what you want. It really feels like Diablo 4's launch is going to go very well. Maybe I'll eat my words, but all signs are pointing positive for this one. I like this. Yes.
Blizzard, I would expect the day one to be pretty rough for the first 8 hours. Expect long queues. It's a Blizzard title. I've been following them my whole life. Like, they're going to have long queues for the first day. After that, the second and third day should be fine. But definitely, like, they're doing a server slam now. It's not going to be anywhere close to when it actually goes live. Like, they've got 1 million pre-orders. They'll probably see a spike of close to 2 million for the server slam. There's going to be like 5 million day one. So just expect queues.
That would make sense.
But that's just my fair warning on that one. Also, sure. I hate that this is on the 12th through the 14th, because not only is it Mother's Day, not that that concerns me right now, but it's also like the weekend that Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom releases. And it's like, I hate that I'm going to have to make that choice of Zelda or go kill a world boss.
Zelda's going to sell so absurdly well.
It's ridiculous.
Just wild.
How many units does the Switch have? It's like 90 something units out there? How many?
Top of my head, I don't know. I mean, it's been out for a long time. So I don't know.
2017 at least.
Yeah. While you're looking up that, there's Street Fighter 6 is getting a demo. It's available now on PlayStations 4 and 5, and coming to Xbox and PC on April 26th. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm really exhausted from these times. Like, you can play on this system this week, but then everybody else this week. I don't like those deals. And I was really hoping Street Fighter Capcom would move away from that. But be that as it may, really excited for the Street Fighter 6 demo. So that's pretty cool.
I got to see some last night. Holy shit. That game looks good.
What, Street Fighter?
Yeah. Bro, I was watching some demo play last night of it, man. Yeah. Oh, they got the audio in there. It sounds like Street Fighter. It looks good. Like, this is going to be a good Street Fighter. This is going to be like a really nice Street Fighter.
I'm excited for it. Somehow it's my second most anticipated Capcom game for the rest of the year, because Exo Primal was so much fun.
Yeah.
I really liked Exo Primal. It has a dumb game that I really like.
It is so dumb. I liked it.
But yeah, I'm hoping people are able to, check out the Server Slam, free. Street Fighter 6 demo, free. And then it's going on right now. You probably, depending on when you listen to this, you may not be able to get in, but the Crash Team Rumble beta, closed beta, is going on at the moment. And again, I'm really excited that we were able to get codes for so many of our patrons. That made my day. And then be able to hook up the trophy room also made me feel good. But to me, those are 3 cool beta demo experiences that you can be checking out. And all 3 look good in their own right across different genres. And that to me is also cool. So next to these big AAA games that are coming out, you've also got these free experiences that kind of go hand in hand with future AAA stuff. And that's fun to me. That's neat.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like that they've been able to do that. Yeah. I found the numbers, by the way.
Okay.
So you remember how I was like, it should be like around 90 something.
It's more than that, 120.
They hit that back in 2011 or 2010 or no, 20. What the hell?
What?
2021. 2021.
Okay. All right. I was
like, so the Switch, as of, let's see, this article came from TechSpot. It was February 2023, 122 million console sales there, and the DS is 155 154. The PS2 was 155. The Switch is almost about to outsell its biggest handheld, and that's nuts given the time frame. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of Zelda, because I think at launch Zelda had 105 or 110 attach rate or percentage attach rate for Switch. Like, people were buying Zelda that didn't own a Switch. Like, that's how good that game was.
Breath of
So
the Wild was so good. I loved that game.
yeah,
I loved that game. But
I
I'm
can't
not
wait.
excited for Tears of the Kingdom at the moment because of Jedi, because of Redfall. But I
I
wonder
know.
if it's not the one to make me boot my Switch up. Miles Pierre put out a fun tweet, which is like, what are your favorite things about each of your big three, Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, and then what are your
Hmm.
criticisms about it? And my there are a lot of things I love about Nintendo. That's just wonderful first party IP. My criticism of them is that it's really hard to be a legacy fan when you're on Nintendo because on your Switch you can't play all the games from a particular franchise or whatnot, and that's something that I think Xbox is better at.
Yeah.
Still not perfect because of, but in first party, yes. And I'd like to see PlayStation do a good job of as well, particularly as PlayStation's IP surpasses Nintendo's. But I don't. Maybe that's not a fair statement. But like I'm enjoying a lot of PlayStation IP. I would like to see them do a better job at making the legacy versions of things. I should be able to play the PS3 version of Last of Us. Next to my 4 and 5 versions of it,
Yeah.
etc. So I think that's important for game
They,
preservation as much as anything. And
yeah,
Nintendo should be a major player there.
they do a really like Nintendo does a fantastic job, and I think mine was building games for everyone that are top tier. Like like the Kirby game, that's a really good Kirby game.
Yeah.
You want a Zelda game, that is an E for everyone beast of a Zelda game. And
Right.
they know how to make Zelda games, or they know how to make games for everyone and have them still be really good. Which I think that is something that Xbox and PlayStation both like have stepped away from. Like everything from Xbox for the most part is teen, and it's like they've completely lost kids, which is where I think that there's so much potential for them to have companies pull some of their past IP, like Banjo, Viva Pinata, with the ABK deal, hopefully Crash and Spyro, really kind of bolster out that E for everyone catalog that they could potentially have if they decided to make moves for that. But like Grounded's a great example, which I don't think Grounded is a T game.
No, I don't think so. It might be that spider violence people were really sensitive about, but I think Microsoft's doing a good job diversifying their portfolio from where it was, but it's all about proof in the pudding, man. You got to deliver on those releases, and that's not meant to be a intentional callback to like Redfall's performance or Ghostwire's performance, but you got to deliver upon release. Grounded doing a good job with its 1.0.
You're right.
Some of those
T
new
for
ones.
team.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really interesting to see what the conversation is for Redfall, knowing like what we know, because I am curious to think like, will the 30 really impact our gameplay? It's going to bug me, but if it's if it's a locked 30, I think I'll manage. But I feel like there was a missed opportunity there, especially looking at something like Dead Island 2, which is a last gen game. And they knew the assignment. Hit 60 for next gen, keep it locked at 30. Even the Series S has 60 and it's 1080, but it's still 60 and it's locked.
I think I'm excited for Redfall. I will criticize to the nth degree the management and delivery of some of Xbox's content. Without a doubt, their first party is in need of some quality control, I think is the right way to put that. But I like swimming in sevens. I like playing more games across more genres. I like lots of different experiences. But without a doubt, like you must start delivering to compete, right? Really the interesting conversation surrounding Hi-Fi Rush success, not success. Jez Corden and Aaron Greenberg exchanged words there, and
You want to break
Hi-Fi
that out
Rush
a little bit as because we haven't, for folks that
we
didn't
can't.
follow that.
In short, Jeff Grubb had stated, Jeff Grubb stated with no data, mind you. That's why I'm a little hesitant on this one. Jeff Grubb stated that, simply put, Hi-Fi Rush did not make money, right?
Yeah.
And the counterpoint to that, and so thus it was a failure on some metrics. And he wasn't like lambasting it. He was just pointing. He was saying what he'd heard, whatnot.
Yeah.
The counterpoint to that is quite logically, the game was shadow dropped, no marketing, no physical edition. What do you in a niche genre of rhythm combat?
Yep.
Aaron Greenberg come out and said this game did beat all of our expectations for it. We're quite pleased with it. It's also Aaron's job to say that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what you can say about it definitively without kind of engaging in fan speak, but I will note that like I'm disappointed with Microsoft's lack of marketing for Hi-Fi Rush. The game is fantastic. We should see it in commercials with Game Pass. We should see it on boxes of like come holiday. There should be montage reels in movie theaters that include Hi-Fi Rush and Redfall and Ghostwire and Halo and Sea of Thieves and Forza. And Hi-Fi Rush needs to be included in that. It should be on the box. It's bright. It's colorful. It breaks the mold of what you would think of as a traditional Xbox game. And they need that. And so I want to see better quality control and better what I would call marketing, which Kelly Lombardi did a great, just quick tweet out there reminding people that marketing is not the same as what some people think it is. And she did some good education for people on that. But in short, I don't like the idea that people saying Hi-Fi Rush failed. That game is incredible. It's incredible. It is also frustrating to see Ghostwire Tokyo be better on PlayStation 5 even after a year when it comes out on Xbox. That's not acceptable. Not acceptable that Redfall is not launching at 60. Not acceptable that we're seeing kind of the frustrating releases from first party not hit quality control elements. That's not okay. Sony delayed Last of Us 2 like 48 times. But when it came out, that thing delivered on performance and quality. Right? I didn't necessarily like it, but there was no one doubting any of these frame arguments or whatnot. And let's be clear, I fully plan to enjoy and play Redfall. That game looks fun. I shouldn't have to be worried about frame rate failures. Fun aside, did you see I misspelled the thumbnail last week?
Oh, no, I didn't. I didn't even notice
frame
that.
Rate failure. And I spelled failure wrong.
Oh my God.
And like, I think I'm still getting used to a mechanical keyboard. I think the I just caught and I was just in go mode. Yeah, I fixed the thumbnail portion, but the video version, it's in there.
Oh my
God. I
God.
just got a kick out of it. I'm like, whatever.
Now I gotta go find it.
You got to laugh at yourself, right? Because I guarantee you, most people missed it.
Oh, I've done it in the past too. There's been 100%.
But I was wondering, I was like, if anybody at Xbox, because I've been chatting with Xbox and in my pitch deck and stuff. So if anybody look at that, there's some irony and also embarrassment. But I was like, whatever. If I'm burning the candle at both ends at work and such and enjoying games, I'm not going to worry about dropping an I in there by mistake. So, you see it. Yeah, he sees it. So I don't know what more you wanted me to break out on that one, but that was my thought there.
The thing that I was interested in was Aaron came out and said something that was positive and addressed something that I think people tend to forget because we tend to compare Sony and Xbox so closely, but they really are different beasts. Sony is there to make money off of the games they sell. That's why it's exclusive. Xbox is there to make games that bring experiences that people probably weren't expecting. So when I saw Aaron Greenberg's comments on that, and that it did really well for the points of interest that they scale or that they look at, then that to me tells me it's like they're okay losing money on studio projects that are going to be cool experiences. Like Grounded is a perfect example. It's like Grounded was in game preview. There's no idea if anyone has actually bought that game, but to them it's a success because it's driven people to play it. It's driven people to engage with it, and it's given a positive experience. And I think word of mouth
engage.
Yes.
Their business, they want to make money, but driven people to engage on their subscription service.
Specifically.
Okay. All right. Because you said they didn't want to make money. I'm like, well, no, they're a business. They have to make money.
Well, they want to make money, but it's not dependent on independent sales of a game. Like they are looking to build the value through Game Pass, which is why they're okay with these unique games coming to Game Pass, knowing that they don't have to worry about printing. They don't have to worry about the printing costs. They don't have to worry about the physical media costs. They don't have to worry about the marketing. The marketing is Game Pass. So they're saving tons of money on not dumping stuff into those and letting word of mouth do the talk. And that's what I think is where they're seeing wins, because they can launch a game. They can shadow drop a game with no marketing, with no physical edition, with no collector's edition, nothing like that. And it will be the talk of the town for a few weeks. And that will drive sales to Game Pass. To me, that's a huge win. Like, why would that be a failure? You're enriching Game Pass. You're getting good word of mouth. People are talking about how good this Hi-Fi Rush is, and it's console exclusive. And
but
you
tell
didn't
me
have
if
to.
do people know about Hi-Fi Rush outside of podcast communities?
Yeah,
That's where I don't think they do. What commercials are showing up on Nickelodeon for
they're
kids to
friends.
see?
It's their friends that are talking about it.
But I work with kids. I've never heard a single one of them mention Hi-Fi Rush.
Right, but that's anecdotal. Like
So is what you're saying, though.
I know, but I mean, it's Aaron Greenberg's word that it was a huge success with the logic in place. It had to have been word of mouth, because there was no marketing. There was no physical edition. So the only way people knew about this was people looking and seeing it on Game Pass and then telling other people about it.
I question what I think we're talking about two different things. Like,
Okay.
I see Hi-Fi Rush as a huge success. I see a failure in Microsoft's ability to tell people about it, relying on content creators to tell people about it. I don't think anybody knows about Hi-Fi Rush outside of content creation communities and their followers.
It was trending on Twitter for a long time.
Twitter's a increasingly small group, which oddly relates to one of our topics, but like,
true,
I don't think that's any longer the metric. You know, is it on Twitch? Is it showing on Twitch? Is it, how many videos are there on YouTube? What are the hits there?
I mean, we could look at like the analytics. We could go do the Google search analytics for Hi-Fi Rush compared to like Dead Island 2 and see like, what did Dead Island 2, what did their physical edition and marketing get them compared to Hi-Fi Rush, and see if that was actually a positive. Like, there's ways we could probably dig into it a little bit and kind of judge it out. But I mean, I see what you're saying as far as like, no one knows about it because they didn't do any marketing. Like, they failed on the marketing aspect of it, but I don't think that their intent was to market it. I don't think their intent was to try and do anything. Like, they saved all the money that they would have put into that and maybe put it into a different game studio to build out the next one of those. And
maybe I don't know from Adam. Maybe that's true.
There's no way we could know. I'm purely speculating on this and just throwing out hypotheticals. But I mean, if gamers that we talk to think Hi-Fi Rush is a success and that it was a great game, then you won by not having to spend any money on that. And you'll just let time do its thing and let people talk about it. And like, there was conversations in the podcast realm about Hi-Fi Rush being in the top running for like game of the year when it came out. And for a game that Microsoft didn't market or sell a physical edition on, I'd be like, damn, that's pretty good. That's a huge win for Tango Gameworks. It's
a great win for Tango, and I hope that Hi-Fi Rush gets its due. I really do.
Oh yeah.
Ori was another example that reminds me of this, because Ori is just so good.
Yeah.
Forgettable. Now, maybe that was due to some of their studio heads' behavior.
I think that we're talking about like in a bubble kind of conversations. I think that is something that most people never heard about.
Right. But I mean, like, why Microsoft would choose not to market.
Oh,
that's what I mean. Maybe they're like,
fair.
oh, we cannot market this. That's maybe, because one thing we know about Microsoft, Xbox specifically, is they get burned a lot by like life situations. Stalker 2, war in Ukraine. High on Life, Justin Roiland. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Oh, studio heads toxic and terrible. That seems to keep happening. The losses on that, the L's seem to happen inadvertently on those things, and then they have shoot yourself in the foot. Like, and this isn't my experience. I freaking love Ghostwire Tokyo, but like, doesn't run as well as on PlayStation. Doesn't run badly on Xbox. I don't know why people like. I don't understand the Digital Foundry level of like, it's 59 frames, 59.6, 61.2. Oh, this one's so much better. Like, to me, that's not interesting. But after a year, you would think it should run smoothly, no problems.
Yeah.
All right. Briefly, and I'm going to touch on this quick because we're running a little bit long here. Twitter has changed some of its API policies, which means like your ability to use the back end of Twitter and link it to your own stuff. And they're charging $42,000 a month to major corporations to use their API. And Microsoft has chosen not to give Twitter that money. And so no longer, in short, no longer direct from your Xbox can you post things to Twitter. I think this was getting used less and less anyway for a lot of reasons, but it's very simple to go on the Xbox app and download a picture or an image and then upload that to Twitter. In fact, I found it better and more convenient to do so, which I would not have expected. But everything you see from me that goes onto Twitter that's gameplay related or screenshot related has been using that practice for 2 years now, it feels like. This doesn't mean that Xbox won't run ads on Twitter, but it means they're not willing to pay the $42K a month to let you have that ill-used API version of uploading your stuff there.
Wow, talking smack about that. I use that thing all the time.
I'm not talking smack about it at all. I'm saying that the take a screenshot, go downstairs, go to the bathroom or whatnot, and just download, send it up there is pretty easy. So I'm not talking smack at all. I wouldn't pay $42K a month to a dying platform that increasingly ostracizes its users and runs into like
Twitter. Like,
problems.
look, don't get me wrong. Elon has really sucked the life out of Twitter. But for as far as like folks that like liked using Twitter, and liked having that option to share on the Xbox console, I was one of those people. I'm very meticulous about the screenshots that I upload. So for me, when I do have something that I want to upload, I upload it specifically, and then as soon as it's done uploading, I use the Twitter to go in and share that. This adds more steps because now I have to go to my phone to be able to upload to Twitter, whereas before it was just right there. So the ease of access is gone for me. It's now become more tedious for me to want to go and actually share to Twitter and stuff. The caveat there is that now I'll be able to add alt text to images, so that if I want to try and make my content more accessible, then that's a positive. But the ease of access is a bummer because I did use that on a regular basis. But I don't blame them for not wanting to support a platform that has continuously harmed the trust and goodwill that they had earned over years.
That's fair. Well, as we are winding into, and we have a few listener questions that we haven't touched on just yet, I wanted to say, in case you missed it, guys, Strayed Lights comes out this week. And I had them on the last week's show. Really good interview. Went a lot. Now that we've split interviews from the main show, I see different like audio has more favor towards one or the other. But if you missed it, really hope you guys will go check out that interview because it was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. And of course, we reviewed Minecraft Legends on last week's episode. Logan, we had some listener questions here that I want to touch on. I did not put them in the notes, so I'm pulling them straight from my Twitter if you need to see them on your end. This one comes from Todd Oxtra, who says, do you think Xbox will change its approach to announcing release dates after the promise fell through from last year's Xbox event? Quote, pause for a minute. He's talking about all these games will be out in the next 12 months. And then he says, additionally, do you think Xbox will change its focus to performance mode being a priority on future game launches? And I think that's a reference to Redfall. So let's go with the first one. Do you think we'll see a change in their verbiage of all of these in the next 12 months for Xbox? Do you think we'll see a change in verbiage there?
No, I think they want to stay bullish on, what's coming out in the next year. I think it's a smart move for them to try and push that idea of, like, this is the stuff that we want to come out in the next year. Anyone that understands development understands that there's unpredictable things that will happen that will push it. I hope that they don't, because I kind of liked knowing like these are the things that they're shooting for over the next year. I think that if anything, people need to kind of just like relax a little bit more about the whole like, oh, well, they said it was, 12 months. They're lying. It's like, okay, well, I tell you
They're
what,
not lying.
they're not lying. That's what they want to come out in the next year. It's just not what's happening. And that's a bummer on everyone. No one, it's like, yes, they did say that they were going to have these games coming out in the year. What's the alternative to that? Force people to work overtime, force people to grind out that things, and then maybe you get the same quality product that you would have if you just give them more time. I would much rather just them delay that kind of stuff. I like putting out the delayed.jpg tweets, so they're more than welcome to do that. I don't want them to change the verbiage. I want them to stick to what they feel like they can get out in the next year and let me know what that is.
Agree. I don't think they should say in the next 12 months, though, just because it would cause too much ruckus and distract the narrative, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I understand where you're coming from, and I don't think that anybody in their right mind should be saying, well, you said the next 12 months and it was delayed. Like, shut up. Like, that's not how it works. Like, I how many times was God of War 1 delayed, 2 delayed, Last of Us delayed? Like, whatever. Get it right. Like, get it right. I'm so okay with that. I don't think anybody's lying when they're saying that, like, oh, it's gonna come out this day. Oh, we had to delay. Okay. Delay if you need to. If your company can front the cost of that and not overwork its people and could get out the right product, rock on. Nobody's lying to be vindictive and mean. That's just so silly.
What's interesting too is so I have an image on my desktop. I've had this image that I saved. Let's see, this was June 12th, 2022. So it was around the time that they published the coming to Xbox / PC over the next 12 months. And looking at it, they've got like everything that's on the 2023 slate, which is Diablo 4, Redfall, Starfield, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, Aria, History Untold, Wulong, Stalker 2, Flintlock, League of Legends stuff is coming to Game Pass, Valorant stuff. They've got replaced.
Was Atomic Heart in there? I was curious.
Let's see, where is Atomic Heart? Atomic Heart was slated as 2022. Okay. So, but that was one that we knew because we knew things were going on with that one. But they've got things like Dead Space, Ravenlock, The Case of Benedict Fox, Cocoon, Resident Evil 4, Arc 2. They've got all of these games, and there's a little asterisk at the very bottom that says all titles targeting to release over the next 12 months, and it's targeting. So whenever I see people like sit there and be like, oh, well, they lied. It's like, no, this was the target. Like they hit that. They hit the target of that time frame. Like, is it going to stretch beyond the 12 months? Yeah. Is it still going to be in 2023? You're probably going to see all these titles come out in 2023. I think maybe Arc 2 is the one that I would look at and be like, I don't think that's coming 2023. I think that's 2024.
Yeah, that game's in trouble for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons. What about the second part of Todd's question? Do you think we'll see them shift to prioritizing performance mode in future titles?
Yeah, I do. I think Microsoft listens to their gamers. I think they want to have their audience happy, and they're willing to kind of put that mandate out to their studios like, hey, this is the narrative going on right now in the community. They really want to push 60 frames. We would like for everyone to start working on trying to get their games up to 60 frames because we are the most powerful console. We know the hardware is there. If you need more time, we'll delay it, but you should be shooting for 60.
I agree. I don't know that you'll see that on the Starfield thing. I think that's a different beast altogether. But I think in future, that's going to be the priority. And it should be because this consistent unforced errors are Microsoft's MO for the last year and a half, 2 years. And
it's a good way to put it.
If you're putting on a whiteboard, okay, here's and the big picture what we should work on, prioritize this. I think the only counterpoint to that is that they would want to say their developers have the freedom they want to make the game they want to make, but there has to be some quality control in there. Otherwise, you're damaging your business.
Do you think that that's something where someone would, like a studio would specifically choose to go 30 frames as like that is the vision of their game? Like, do you see that being a thing, or do you think that they would go 60 if they were asked to?
I don't know enough about game development to say one way or the other.
Okay.
I just don't. So I'm going to hold off on that one.
Fair.
Yeah. Let's see here. Dano12, what up, man? Patreon member wrote us in. He said, what would you say is your preferred gaming genre? What's your preferred gaming genre?
Adventure, hands down.
Yeah.
I've always loved adventure games. And I attribute that to like the Nintendo games, side scrolling Mario games. So those were adventure to me, Zelda 64, Zelda Link to the Past. Those are adventure games to me. Love things like God of War. I love games like, Horizon. I love Ghost of Tsushima. I love, Gears for that reason. Sea of Thieves is a shared, it's a swag. It's a shared world adventure game. I love those adventure games. Give me all of those. If it has narrative, awesome. If it doesn't, not a huge deal. But man, if it's an adventure game, I'm probably there for it. What about you?
I was gonna say action adventure, which I think there's some crossover there because it's a tough genre, but like Arkham would fall under that realm. Spider-Man would fall into that realm, like third person action open world games. Gears. If it's third person, I tend to lean further to it because I prefer third person as a visual standpoint. But action adventure, I think, would be the right way to put it, is my most favorite of them, typically single player. But increasingly I find myself playing multiplayer with my buddies. That doesn't always, like, sometimes I'm just burned out. I don't want to put on a headset. And so that means I'll use my speakers, and that means a single player game. But like, I do enjoy Fortnite, Halo, COD, like that kind of stuff. But ultimately, like, I would play Arkham's. I would play a lot of Arkham. And I like, there's a genre I like that is underutilized, and I just got it working on my PC, which is Rogue Squadron 3D. The Rogue Squadron style of games, like Chorus would be a recent example of that kind.
Oh, okay.
Third person viewing. Like, I'm excited for Everspace
Simulator.
2. But not sim, like an action arcadey version of that. Like, I'm going to be, well, we're working on the scheduling of talking to the Everspace 2 team ahead of their console launch, because they're available on Game Pass for PC now, guys, if you want to check that out. But
I don't think my PC will handle it.
I don't know either. And I prefer to play on console anyway.
Yours
would it?
Yeah.
Okay. Good job, me.
Thank you, yours will. Yeah.
Thanks, Ainsley.
Just pair up a controller, man.
Oh, I do. It's I have one over here. It's my blue, like, Sonic the Hedgehog one, and I just USB it.
Oh my god!
So I take the battery out of it and I just use USB it because I don't like.
We didn't talk
it feels
about
good.
This. But the pro,
nice.
the elites of the blue and the red are now available.
Yes, they are. We're not quite high up on Microsoft's list to get sent samples of those, but yeah. So those look cool.
It'd be nice.
All right, it would be nice. Let's see. I'm looking in our questions for the show. I think we answered Winter Gamers Game Pass games that are good to play when you're under the weather. I would say Minecraft Dungeons all day. Minecraft Dungeons is great for that. And Minecraft Legends is worth your time if you got a controller in your hands, Winter Gamer. I really like Minecraft Legends. That's a really fun game. It's just a lot to pick up and start if you're not feeling great.
Yeah, you can take your time with that one. I can't think of any off the top of my head that are good Game Pass games that I would recommend if you're sick, because most of the stuff that I can think of is all stuff that I'd like have to. When I'm sick, like I'm proper sick, it's got to be something that I can pass out and be okay with. So I think maybe like Valheim would probably be a good one. Like Grounded, something like that. I don't know, something that if I were to like just roll over and like take a nap, it'd be okay. So maybe like Coffee Talk 2 would be a good one.
That just came out, right?
Yeah. Try that one out. Games. Let's see. Bug Snacks is leaving, so maybe try and get that one in. Vampire Survivor I've passed out to and still won, so that's a good one. I think that's about it as far as like off the top of my head.
It's not on Game Pass, but we just got sent codes for Teslagrad. I want to try that game. That game looks cool.
Like, you'll have to let me know how that is, because I don't have time for the indies with the next few weeks.
Well, it's a busy time. I don't know how quickly I'll get to it, but they sent Teslagrad 2 and Teslagrad Remastered. and those were announced in the remastered was surprise announced in the Nindy showcase.
Yeah.
Which is
We didn't
adjacent
talk about
to our
that.
topic from well, and I don't want to today, but it was cool to see that happen because people had eyes on it, and then we had talked about that kind of with the ID at Xbox one. Like, are we going to get an ID at Xbox March showcase? You know, like because we got one for May. I'm sorry, not March, May. So
I think they
we'll
should
see.
put it into the summer thing on the 11th.
So I want to briefly mention something in Discord this week. We talked about stuff we may or may not see at the showcase this summer. What would be there? And Matt Without Fear asked me like what I had heard or whatnot, and then a couple days ago, Court said something in our Discord, and I was like, no, that's not what I heard. It had to do with like Bethesda making games exclusively or whatnot. And when I say stuff that I've heard or not, there's a reason I don't go put it on Twitter, but I don't mind putting it to the podcast community because stuff I hear comes from developers that I talk to. And I don't want to out people that I talk to because some of them work on support studios. One that did like a good example of that, Kevin Mann came on the show. He worked with RimWorld. He worked for the RimWorld console release. They were support on Minecraft Legends, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that happens, and that's when I hear stuff. But that's also why I don't like tweet leaks or insider info. One, because I don't have good enough stuff to be an insider. Two, it changes so quickly that I don't want to be in that arms race of like Jeff Grubb and Jason Schreier and Special Nick and stuff. That arms race is not where I live. I know I hear stuff sometimes, but it's inconsistent, and that's why I don't put some of that stuff on Twitter because it's just like I don't want to battle you guys for insider knowledge. I would lose, and I don't have an interest in it. It's not my realm, and it's not my place to share.
It's also one person's word. Like, you know, like they may have like a few people that are kind of giving them information, which would help kind of solidify the idea of what's going on. But for the most part, I would say that a lot of us tend to make friends within studios, and those friends share things that are coming and stuff. But it's like, I'm hearing one person, maybe two people at most when it comes to stuff. And at that point, it's like, it's cool to know, but I'm, you know, like I get more excited when they get to make those announcements, which is why I'm not a huge fan of like, oh, well, I can't, you know, I'd love to tell you what's going on in Sea of Thieves, but honestly, it's not my place. I'd rather let Sea of Thieves make that announcement because they worked on it. I didn't work on it. I just found out about it.
Due to my love for Avengers, I heard a lot about what Crystal Dynamics was doing, not just on Avengers, but on other projects, which are Xbox adjacent. Not my place to share, not my realm, not what I get clicks for, not what people listen to my show for. And you know, like that's a good example again of sometimes I do know things, sometimes I don't know, but I think I know, right? And you know, knowing about some of the Bethesda projects that were PlayStation's exclusive or timed exclusive and stuff. One person, two people, three people from studios, right? Not my place to share, and stuff changes obviously often.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like I get it, but I'm not in that arms race. And shout out to those of you who are or who enjoy it, because a lot of people will click on our show if we shared stuff, right? Just not where I want to be. Not what I enjoy doing. I like reviewing, interviewing, talking to people about stuff.
I don't want to be the person that people come to asking like what's going to happen in the future. I'd much rather like let the future happen and then be like, all right, what's cool, what's not cool about this.
Yeah. I don't share predictions based on stuff I've heard either.
I like making predictions, but I like doing predictions based on absolutely no knowledge of what's going on.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I don't mind dropping a nugget here and there in Discord, but I don't like blasting it out. And even then, like it's a nugget of something I heard, not something I know.
Yeah.
So like Ellery was saying in our Discord, like is Banjo-Kazooie coming back based on a Xbox New Zealand tweet or something, Australia tweet, and it was just a fun thing. And I was like, I doubt it. People were like, what have you heard? I'm like, nope, that's not me. I don't know. I do not know a thing.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I would be very surprised if Banjo-Kazooie actually was getting another game anytime soon, because I know what Rare's working on and I know that what their focus is. And if a Banjo-Kazooie game is coming out, it will be It'll be supported by Rare, kind of the way Battletoads was with Delilah Studios, but it won't be Rare.
So what you have is insider knowledge of what Rare is working on, thanks to Captain Logun.
Yep.
From the Keelhaul Insider Knowledge.
It's the insider knowledge that everyone knows from that Xbox. What was it XO19? God.
With Everwild, that one?
Yeah. It's like
who knows, man.
4 years ago now.
Dude, it really was 4 years ago.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, COVID ruined everything time-based for me. It also changed my allergies.
Thanks, COVID.
And everything. Yeah, it's crazy.
I still have never had COVID, so get wrecked, nerds.
All right.
That's my closer right there.
Well, I will ask everybody that's listening to this show, if you enjoy it, please consider dropping a review on Spotify, iTunes. Of course, you can enter to win a copy of Jedi Survivor. Purchased by us over here. And if you want to financially support us and help us do those kind of things, you can join our Patreon with $3, $5, and $10 tiers for tiers 1, 2, and 3. And really the biggest benefit is jumping into our community. It's such a joy. I love that Discord community. Just always so positive and supportive. I saw African joined it. Game Positive jumped into Discord, which made my day. It's just fun. It's a fun thing. For sure. You can find me on Twitter at InsipidGhost. And I have an interview with the Sea of Stars devs coming out this week. What you got for us, Logan?
So this week will be the community episode for Keelhauled. And then the week after will be the interview with Behaving Beardly. And then I'm working on getting a couple more content creators for Sea of Thieves scheduled out for interviews to dive into who they are and what makes them so awesome. So keep an eye out for those over Keelhaul Discord.
Very cool. And if you're a Keelhaul listener that listens here as well, shout out to you guys. I really love that some of you have made the jump. And I hope to see you guys more often, because it really does make my day that you guys made the jump and support Logan in 2 places. They're good people. So they're awesome. I frequent your Discord, but like as an observer, and they're so great. They're awesome people. So
I love them.
Except for Oars, Admiral Oars.
He's the pun master. He's got
so funny.
The worst puns in the world, but I love him for it because he's so good at it.
Yeah, he's pretty great.
All right.
That's going to be it for us. Have a great rest of your week, guys. Take care.